Richard Dawkins is a giant of a man. No, not in height, since he's not quite 6 feet tall, but because he stands on top of the world shouting his anti-God message. Clearly intelligent, the evolutionary biologist has written numerous books proclaiming his message that there is no God. His 2006 book, The God Delusion, with its message that God does not exist and faith is a fixed false belief, has been wildly successful. He will go just about anywhere to preach to any who will listen that the Bible is nonsense and the Christian's faith is foolish. Naturally, he does not go to Islamic countries denouncing the Koran and the Muslim faith for an obvious reason. They wouldn't listen for very long before they responded in a way that Mr. Dawkins would not appreciate. As a result, his courage is reserved for, shall we say, more tolerant audiences. For the atheists outside the Islamic world, Richard Dawkins is their champion. In a similar way, Goliath was the champion for the Philistines during the reign of King Saul. Except Goliath, unlike Mr. Dawkins, was brave enough to face a hostile audience. Do you know the story of Goliath? He was a literal giant of a man who towered over the average Israelite who measured around 5 feet tall. 1 Samuel 17 verse 4 tells us he was 6 cubits and a span. Depending on the length of their cubit, that puts him around 8 or 9 feet tall. At 6'1", I'm a fairly tall guy, but put me on an NBA court among the players and I'm short, very short. Trained as a warrior from his youth, he was the champion for the Philistine army. In one of their battles with Israel, the armies set up across from each other with a shallow valley, the valley of Elah, between them. Every day Goliath came down into the valley and challenged Israel to send out a champion to fight him in a personal duel, winner take all. No doubt using every profanity known to man, he defied God's army and insulted God. Sadly, no one in Israel had the faith to take him on, so the challenge went unanswered for days and days and days, and eventually for weeks. 1 Samuel 17 verses 1 through 16. But if you know the story, then you know how it ends. The giant Goliath was taken down by a single stone from the sling of a boy named David, who was probably not even 5 feet tall at the time. In a symbolic and figurative sense, Dawkins was also slain by a single question in a debate with apologist Professor John Lennox. Dawkins asserted that faith in God is false since we cannot see God himself. But when pressed to explain how he knows his wife loves him, since love itself can't be seen, Dawkins admitted it was based on her actions. In other words, his faith in the unseen was based on the things that could be seen. Viewers claim that Dawkins shook his head in recognition that he had just destroyed his own argument against God. Despite the fact that atheists boldly press on in their denial of the unseen, their champion fell, and believers who trust in God, whom we cannot see, have no reason to fear them. Like David, let's courageously declare our faith in the God who is. He will deliver us. Thanks for watching today's Morning Minutes in the Bible. Until tomorrow, this is James McClenny hoping you have a great day.